Hi book girlies, welcome back to my channel. For this week's video, I wanted to make my own reading vlog. These are my favorite videos to watch on YouTube. I was planning on starting this video a lot earlier in the week. I really wanted to start it on Monday, but life was throwing a bunch of curveballs at me this week. I've not been able to sit down and start this intro until now, which is Saturday, so it's going to be a little shorter than a week, but I'm still going to take you guys along with me and show you what I'm reading and give you guys my thoughts on the next few books that I read over the course of the next few days. It's honestly a good coincidence that I wasn't able to sit down and make this intro until now, because today has finally felt like the first day of fall here. It's been mid-70s. Went and got my pumpkin spice latte this morning and have been laying in bed for most of the morning and just reading. As for what I'm reading right now, I started The Grace Year a few days ago. Me and my best friend Hannah are buddy reading this right now. I had no idea what this book was about, even though I've owned it for 7 years. I kind of forgot that I even had this, but she brought it up to me and she described it as being a dystopian, kind of like Hunger Games Divergent kind of feel, and I loved those books when I read them years and years ago, and I haven't found another dystopian that kind of hit the mark that those books did for me. So I was excited to start reading this. When I started reading it though, I was a little shocked as to the things that they preach to these young girls and our main character in this book. It's a very misogynistic world and I just wasn't expecting that, but once I trekked through that part and just kind of accepted this book for what it was going to be, I started to enjoy it. I'm about 200 pages into it now and it's getting a lot better. It's definitely giving more like Hunger Games when she's out in the arena like fighting for her life kind of thing. I do not do good with blood and gore, and there's also some very descriptive scenes about people's shoulders getting cut with axes, and I just sometimes had to put this book down and regroup and then pick it up and start reading it again. If you guys don't know what The Grace Year is about, it is basically about this girl named Tierney, and once all the girls in that county turn 16, it is kind of suspected that all the girls summon this evil magic in them, and all the girls, once they turn 16, are sent off on their grace year to an encampment where they let their magic out of their bodies. And so when they come home, they can return to their new husbands and have kids, or if they weren't chosen to be wives to any of the husbands in the county before they were sent off, they just work in the mills or have a job. So our main character Tierney is definitely an outcast. She is very much so giving Katniss in this. She's not really friends with any of the other girls in this county because it's most of the girls' dreams to get chosen by their husband before they get sent off to the encampment. But she does not want that. She just wants to get rid of her magic over the course of this year and then come back home and work in a mill, work outside, and just kind of be on her own. So she does not grow strong relationships with any of the girls her age before getting sent out onto the encampment, and so a lot of them look down on her and kind of bully her and are out to get her once they get to their encampment site. So we're basically just following her journey over the course of the year, trying to survive and not get killed by any of the other girls around her. I would probably give it like a 3.5 or 3.75 right now. Maybe that'll go up or down once I finish it, but I'll keep you guys posted on what I think about this once I'm done. It is now the next day, and I got a good chunk of reading done last night. I'm really proud of myself for all the pages that I got through. I am 332 pages into the grace year, which means I have about 70 pages left. I spent most of my night last night reading this, and I'm really eating it up now. Like how I said, once I accepted this book for what it was gonna be, I just really started to fly through it. There's now kind of a love interest going on. This is gonna be spoiler free, by the way. I'm not gonna give away any spoilers, but there is a love interest now, and that definitely has picked the story up. It's a lot more fast-paced. And I kind of have an idea on how this is gonna end, but I don't really know for sure. I just took my exam that I had been studying all morning for, and I'm pretty sure I got a good grade. We'll see though. And so the rest of the day I am going to finish this book, and then hopefully I'll get it done by afternoonish tonight, and then we can pick a new one to read. I am thinking of starting this. I don't know though. I chose this as one of the books for one of the prompts I landed on in my Monopoly board game Chooses My TBR, and I'm just really intimidated. I don't know. I'm just so scared I'm not gonna love it as much as everyone else, and I also kind of want something fast-paced that I can fly through because this is a little over 400 pages. So I kind of just want something smaller that I can get through so I have like more than 2 books that I'm gonna finish in this reading vlog. So we'll see about this one. If not, it being my next read, then it will probably be the one following whatever I choose after whatever I read next. I did also choose You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogle for one of the prompts in that video as well, and this is a romance and it's only like 360 pages. So I should be able to get through this one relatively quickly. I don't know though. I can never choose my next read while reading something because I just don't know what I'm going to want to read after I finish that. I might be in the mood for another fantasy. I might be tired of the fantasy like dystopian and want to do a romance, or I might even want to do a thriller. We'll just see. But The Fourth Wing and this one is something that's in my mind. So I'm going to get some more reading done, and I'll get back to you guys on my final thoughts after finishing the grace year. Hi guys, it is now the next day. It is Monday, and last night I finished up the grace year. I'm honestly really shocked with my final thoughts for this book. Like how I said the last time I talked to you guys, I was kind of feeling like it was going to be like a 3.5 or 3.75, but I think I'm going to end up giving it a 4.25 stars. I just really loved the last 150 pages in it. I feel like the writing got better for the last 350 pages. And also, like how I said, there was like a love interest thrown in there, which made me a little bit more intrigued into the story, and I just really liked how it wrapped up as well. I feel like the message behind it was very empowering, and I would definitely recommend this, and I did not think that once I started this that I would be sitting here saying that. I looked up on Goodreads last night if this book was going to have a sequel or if there's a sequel out, and it doesn't look like there is one out already, or that the author is writing a sequel or in the process of writing one. So I guess this is just going to be a standalone, which is kind of disappointing because now I really loved the world that we read about in this book and would love to have read something else that pertained to this world. I think it's fine for it to just be a standalone too. I think the message was delivered really well at the end, and I would definitely recommend this if you want something that's about girl power and based around a society that I've never read about before. I would definitely recommend this. As for what I'm going to read next, I think I'm giving up on making a TBR for myself every single month. I had said the last time I talked to you guys that I was debating on reading The Fourth Wing or You Deserve Each Other, but once I had finished that, I just wanted something different, and I was scrolling on TikTok and I saw some people talking about Assistant to the Villain, which came out fairly recently. I'd completely forgotten that I had gotten an arc for this about a month ago. It came out August 29th, so about 2 or 3 weeks ago. But people were saying that this was really good. It's kind of like a funny twist on a mystery, or just like a quirky little whimsical story about a girl who becomes the assistant to a villain, and she starts to have a crush on him, and it just has like dry humor. I think I saw that it was like the humor was compared to like The Office and stuff like that, which I really enjoyed that show. So I think this is going to be something that I like. I don't really know much about this besides that the girl we're following, Evie, is going to be the assistant to a villain, and maybe they're just gonna have some like quirky tales and weirdness on what goes on when you're working for a villain, but I'm intrigued. Also, it has like a 4.2 or like a 4.15 on Goodreads right now, so that's pretty promising. The weather's actually pretty nice out today still. It's not really that gloomy fall weather that I had hoped for it to be the rest of the week, like how it was when I started this video, but it's still a nice little like mid-70s with a breeze. So I've been sitting outside all day doing some homework, so I think I'm gonna go back out there and start this, and then I'll get back to you guys on what my initial thoughts are once I get through a little bit of this book. Book girlies, I just got back from a super sporadic Barnes & Noble trip. Life has just not been giving me what I've been wanting lately, and I have felt quite burnt out over the past few days, and like I haven't really been dedicating any time to myself. The majority of my focus has just been in my school and filming and whatnot, and so I just wanted to treat myself a little bit today, and that consisted of blowing some money at Barnes & Noble. I went in there with the impression of just getting myself one book, but of course that's not how Barnes & Noble trips work. I ended up getting 3, which is completely okay. The first 2 books that I got were from the horror table. I just don't really have any like horror creepy books besides like the classic like thrillers to read in October, and so I wanted to grab 2 that I hadn't even heard of until I saw them today. The first one that I found was Hell House by Richard Matheson. This is basically just about a haunted house that's been speculated to have a lot of unalivings and murder and insanity like go on in it. So an investigation has been launched, bringing 4 strangers to the main mansion in search of the ultimate secrets of life or death. A wealthy publisher, brooding over his impending death, has paid a physicist and 2 mediums to establish proof of life after death once and for all, and for one terrible night, a group will investigate the property and end up fighting for their very own souls. This just kind of sounds like a classic horror film, and I really liked the cover. That's what intrigued me the most. And Stephen King also has a blurb on it that says the scariest haunted house novel ever written. So this is definitely something I'm going to be shooting to read in October. I'm very excited for this one. The next book that I got off of that table I was very drawn to because of the cover, and it is Mother Thing by Ainsley Hogarth. On the back it says that it's been compared to Bunny or Eileen, and I really like those books. I like the surrealism writing that it has in it, and this seems like it's going to be like a surrealism written story as well, so I wanted to pick it up. I only read a little bit of the back. Like how I said, I don't really like to know much about books before going into them, which is either going to harm me or benefit me. But this one's pretty much about a couple named Ralph and Abby who move in with Ralph's mother Laura, and Abby is hoping to bond with Ralph's mother because she did not really have a good mother-daughter relationship with her mom growing up. Abby also works at a long-term care home where she is really close with Mrs. Bondy, who is one of the residents there. Things take a bit of a turn because Ralph's mom Laura is actually not what Abby hoped for. She's very venomous and cruel and actually unalives herself, and her ghost starts to haunt Abby and Ralph in very different ways. Ralph plunges into depression, and Abby is terrorized by a force intent on destroying everything she loves. To make matters worse, Mrs. Bondy's daughter is threatening to move her from a care home, leaving Abby totally alone. With everything on the line, Abby comes up with a chilling plan that will allow her to keep Mrs. Bondy, rescue Ralph from his tortured mind, and break Laura's hold on the family for good. All it requires is a little ingenuity, a lot of determination, and a unique recipe for chicken a la king. This just sounds really quirky and weird and like something that I'm going to want to read around Halloween time. The last book is the one that I had the intent on getting when I went, and it is My Roommate is a Vampire by Jenna Levine. I have seen this pop up all over TikTok lately. It's supposed to be like a romantic comedy about a girl who moves into a new building, and her next door neighbor is kind of weird. He sleeps during the day and stays up at night, and obviously he turns out to be a vampire. I guess there's like a romantic element in it. It just sounds like more of a lighthearted kind of spooky read compared to the other two that I got, which are a little bit more dark and complex. So like how I said, I think this will be a good one to add into my October TBR as well. As for what I'm reading right now, I went outside yesterday to start this book, and I actually only read the prologue to it, and then I took a bath and just realized I needed to just let my brain breathe and not do anything. I have been overloading it a lot lately, and so I just did some self-care last night and didn't really focus on reading. I did read the first chapter of this at Barnes & Noble's once I was done shopping, and I want to backtrack on what I said this book was about. It's definitely not a mystery. It's more like a whimsical comedic fantasy. It is about a girl who's an assistant to the villain, and there is dry humor and everything in it as well, but I think it's just about her day-to-day job working for the villain and doing his taxes and paperwork and stuff. But it is based around a kingdom and a village that she's from, and she basically just desperately needs a job in order to take care of her family. So she takes on the job of working for him, and it just seems very whimsical. I still don't know much about it yet, but I did want to backtrack and say that it is not a mystery. It is definitely a fantasy, but I am excited to get further along into this. After I finish editing this video, I'll probably pick this up tonight and get through some of it. I am gonna cut this vlog here though, so it can go up tomorrow. I had such a fun time filming this. I will definitely start one a lot earlier in the week when time allows it in my life, but I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. I know I didn't get through a lot of books in this vlog, but I will definitely be posting my thoughts once I finish Assistant to the Villain on my TikTok page. If you guys don't already follow that, it's Savvy's Bookshelves, and I try and keep my Goodreads pretty consistent and up to date with what I'm reading and the page mark and everything that I'm at, and I occasionally write some reviews on there. If you guys are interested in seeing more of my reading taste, you can go ahead and follow me on that. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog, and I will see you guys again soon.